welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. And
oh, I thought you could introduce me then. I was like,
no, I was waiting for you to introduce yourself.
I'm Simon of Savage Reads.
You all know Simon. You all know him. I have spent a lovely weekend with Simon and Chris, and David was here too. We've had such a lovely weekend, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've been to Chester, we've been to Wales, we've been to an
Some
industrial estate.
Not in the industrial estate,
No.
they're in a wood.
We've just had a lovely time. We had a Mapomino session yesterday.
I won
had a lovely time.
twice.
Yeah, he did win twice. Europe and Great Britain. There's no denying he was the Mapomino's champion.
I was.
Champion. But today we're going to be doing a lit chat. So this is the third in the series of lit chats. There's 100 cards here.
Will this
I'm
be
working
the
my
third?
way through. Yeah, this will be the third. I've filmed 2 and put them up, and then this is going to be the
You might
third.
want to do one in February though.
Nah, don't. I've got enough
lady.
content. I've got enough content. And this might be going up tomorrow.
Oh.
Oh, you don't know what days they are or anything. Right, pick one. What should we do? Pick one from that end.
Oh.
Well, I think we should do a Reader's Way. Look at me really promoting that one to you. But I think we should do a
Which one
Reader's
are you
Way one.
doing?
Any of the Reader's
I just
Way
want to see
ones.
what they're called.
Oh, right, okay. Do you want me to hold them up to you?
Oh,
so-
hang on, what was that one there? What was that one? Oh, it's going wild.
Twice
Told Tales, I feel
Twice
like. Come
Told
on.
Tales.
I should really have chosen the Odyssey from my mum.
Too late.
Oh, no.
Too late.
Sorry, mum.
Sorry, Mum. So this is Twice Told Tales. The question is, do you ever reread books? Why or why not? Are there any specific titles you return to regularly? What makes you go back to them? This is a good discussion.
This is a very good discussion.
So I will write the question down below, and if you feel like joining in, then do comment as well.
Please join in.
Simon
I
and I
might
are
even
gonna have
pop
a-
by and comment on your comments.
Hi. So yeah, do you ever reread books? I do.
So, I don't anymore.
You don't anymore?
No.
Well, I mean, looking around here, you've enough to be getting on
I've
with.
not got anything to read in
You've
this
got
house.
just nothing to do. It's like a wardrobe full of clothes and nothing to wear.
Exactly.
I do reread books. Why do I reread books? I reread books for the... Oh, you do? You reread Harry Potter?
I haven't done that for ages
Oh,
though.
okay.
So, but yeah, I'll explain that.
So I do, for comfort, to revisit my nostalgia, for revisiting something that potentially... I even reread books that I haven't liked at that point, but I feel like now I'm at a different point in my life, I would enjoy them more. Books that I reread constantly that I can just roll off. Oh no, that's the second part, so I won't do that. So do you ever reread books? No, not anymore, and why?
So the reason I don't is I used to, and there's 2 reasons that I don't. One, I feel like I don't have enough time to read all the books I want to read.
Absolutely true, yeah.
Let alone read all of the books that I could reread. Now, also,
That's lovely, that
I think
tea.
it's because, isn't it?
Oh, it's
This
lovely.
is cucumber and mint from
Oh, it's so
Wishhearts.
refreshing.
Thanks, Pip. That was Pip's Christmas present. The reason that I don't now is, well, so one is that I think there's too many books, not enough time anyway.
Yeah.
Because I noticed recently, one of my friends, this is quite a sad story.
Oh no,
Is everyone ready?
let me get the tea for this sad story.
One of my friend's mums died recently.
God, this is a
And
sad
they shared
story.
a picture on Instagram of the book she was halfway through, and it literally got me, like
Well-
properly got me, and it just made me think, I'm not going to have enough time to read all the ones that I want to read anyway, so
That's
why?
true.
And actually, rifling through my books yesterday, which Lauren helped me do a bit of a get rid of some of my books.
I'll link those videos down
I
below.
think it needs to actually be something that I take a lot more seriously in a way of reading responsibly. No, not reading responsibly, but you know what I mean? It's the fact that, do I really want these books? Are they going to add anything? Not add anything to my life, because I don't think every book has to. But there's that element. And then the other reason is, and again, controversial, I reread Rebecca 2 years ago. I never want to read it again.
I'm going to
Because
reread Rebecca this year.
There were little bits of it that grated slightly, and I was like, oh goodness.
Well, I guess the thing is that something's never going to be as good as you've built it up in your head to be. So if you enjoyed something, although that's not true because I enjoy Harry Potter as much, if not more, every time.
I think it's different if it's books you read when you were younger and you go back
So what
for
do you do if you want... So in terms of
nostalgia.
like the reason I reread books is for comfort and nostalgia. What do you do for that?
I didn't, I just used to reread them because, like, well I did initially.
No, but
want
what
to
do you
go
do
back.
for that? If you want comfort or nostalgia, what do you
I
do?
watched She-Ra.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So you would watch something
Yeah.
or...
Or I don't know, I'm not a very, this is awkward, not a very nostalgic person.
Oh, you're not?
I like to just think of the future, I don't like to look back
Oh, okay.
too much.
Oh, well then that's fine. Then
Is
you
that
don't
a
need
tragic
the nostalgia. You don't
When I
need...
was left in a wood. No, I once got left in Waitrose once by my mum.
Oh,
That
do you
was
know
actually
what?
quite tragic.
I lost my mum. She's not to death. When I was in Marks and Spencer's, when I was very young, we got lost. I got lost, and a lady found me, and they said, "Oh, what's she wearing?" And she had this tracksuit on. It was the 90s, and the tracksuit had a tiny little bird on. I think it might have been like the coq sportif, you know, like that tiny little bird. Like, and they said to me, "What's she wearing?" I said, "Oh, she's got a jumper with birds on it." They're not going to find her with this tiny little bird on a jumper. So they called over the thing. They said, "Oh, we've got Lauren here." And then they went and found a woman with a bird on a jumper. And it wasn't my mother, and I've never seen her since.
If it was now, you'd have just been in the book section.
I would have been. You could have just found me down there. God, this tea is absolutely lovely. Cheers. Nice.
You're going to want some of this. You're going to try and take mine away. I can see. I'll be looking for it later. Where is it? But the other thing I was going to say then was, actually, for a nostalgia hit, I think that's why I read retellings of fairy tales, or I read, if I know an author's got like a new collection of fairy tale-esque books, that hits my nostalgia spot, but with something fresh and new.
Yeah, because I think there is, like, so even without rereads, there's a genre that I could go to for comfort and
because
things
I
like
think
that.
as we read, we change as readers, and you can be nostalgic for, so I've recently started to be nostalgic for history books. Yeah. Historical fiction, sorry, not history books. I'm sat here reading the...
Romans. Life with the Romans.
Yeah. Firing some tome. But no, I do. I think that's how I get my fix, is by reading books that appeal. But that's taste as well. And I think reading in its very nature is a treat for me. Yeah. And that was a treat for me when I was a kid.
So it's a comforting treat for you, whatever you're reading. Even if you're reading a terrifying ghost story on your own in a shack in the middle of nowhere.
Which I do
often.
Oh,
what a comfortable treat.
Cheers to that.
So the second part of the question is, are there any specific titles you return to regularly? What makes you go back to them? So
if I was going to go back,
if you
Harry
were,
Potter, I do want to reread at some point, because I never
would you consider maybe doing the audiobook of that?
No,
you're not really into audiobooks.
I do like an audiobook, but I zone out. And actually, what I want to do with going back to Harry Potter is going to be in every single one of them.
Oh, I know. And do you know what I'm really thinking?
And Rebecca's appeared up twice now. Yeah. Oh, same old, same old.
In every single video of this series so far as well, Harry Potter has been one of my answers. But Harry Potter is so entwined with my reading history. I'm sorry, guys.
But also
give up now if you're not expecting Harry Potter.
I was having a chat about Harry Potter the other day, and people were saying, was I too old for Harry Potter when I started reading it? And I wanted to tell them to...
You can say, fuck off on it.
I will not. Oh. I've actually said it on my channel enough with you and your bad influence. So yeah, I was like, no, because I remember in my early 20s queuing at Asda to go and pick up a copy. So I would like to go back, but what I did is I read them in such a rush because I loved them so much and sort of binge read them. Yeah. And actually the first time I read them was accidentally with my, they were my stepsister's copies, and I'd broken up with a horrible man, and I was back home feeling sad, and I picked one up and that was it, I was lost. Anyway,
oh my god, that is the biggest like comfort and ever.
One of the things that makes me sad was my gran never read The Philosopher's Stone, it was still on her bedside table. I know, she didn't get to try the Harry Potter
also,
world.
my nan died when she was reading The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah, and I'd been talking about that to somebody else while she'd been there, and she said, oh, what's that book? And she texted me later on saying, oh, can I get that book? And she couldn't get, she read on her Kindle and she couldn't get it on the Kindle, and I remember her ordering it, and I remember seeing it on her bedside table, like, oh, that is sad, isn't it? It's a sad vision, isn't it?
It is.
To see that. Very good book though. So.
But back to Harry Potter.
But anyway, Harry Potter.
Sorry to our nans. Back to Harry Potter. You might pick some up on orbs in here, because I get quite a few orbs in this room.
I like orbs.
Dusty.
Nan orbs.
Oh. Sounds a bit like a website Wayne Rooney might like. Anyway, Harry Potter, because I didn't closely read them, and sometimes I'll see these videos where you or Jen or someone else is talking about all the sort of history around it, and I'll be like, oh, I never got any of that.
Oh, I tell you what then, just as an aside, nothing even to do with well, it is to do with rereading, but I'm listening to a podcast at the moment because I feel like I'm on a bit of a all of my favourite podcasts are on hiatus at the moment.
And someone,
yes, I saw it this morning. It went in this morning, and there's a podcast called it's called like The Sacred Text or something. I will link what it is called down below, and it takes each chapter of Harry Potter and really analyses it based on a theme. So we just read the first chapter of the first book, and it's based it on commitment, and they say how different it is to read each chapter and just focus on one thing. It's really, really interesting. So like I would like to do that as a real, like really focusing on the text, because I do still pick things up, and there's things I think, God, like they would be fucked without Hermione, which at the time when I first read them I would never have noticed. I just thought it was all like a group effort.
There'd be no Chamber of Secrets without Hermione.
No, it would, like, there's certain things that I pick up, and also like as I get older, the more I think about Snape and like how, although he was misjudged, God, we're really getting into Harry Potter here. like, although, like, but I feel like you still had this duty of care, Snape. There was no reason for you to be so horrible to Hermione. Basically, all my thoughts now as an adult are based around Hermione.
Well, that was what I was like she was the best bit of that dreadful play, which I haven't been to see, so I can't judge it properly,
I love the play.
I would like to go
I'm
and
not
see
so
the
mad
play.
on the actual plot of the play, but the staging and...
But she's done really well in that, and I think the alternate versions of her are quite interesting.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot going on there.
We won't go into any more
of
that. So,
sorry.
Specific titles I like to reread. I'm going to reread Rebecca this year. I always reread Wuthering Heights.
No, I like Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, so I always loved it. I always said it was one of my favourite books, and then the past 2 times I've reread it. First time I read it, I gave it 5 stars. I read it when I was in 6th form. Then I reread it recently and it went down to 4 stars. Then this time when I read it last year, I would have said like 2 stars. They're all so whiny. And I remember Mercedes said to me, it felt like YA. And I went to it thinking that. And yeah, it just felt like whiny, angsty YA.
I didn't like it because I remember reading it thinking, I want you all to die. You're all miserable sods.
Shut up.
But actually, I do like a lot of books
with
characters that are quite cantankerous and stuff. But they are just whiny.
Yeah, because I don't mind a book where I hate a character.
Yeah.
But
sometimes I love reading a narrator I really, really hate. Or dislike, actually. Hate's a very strong word.
Hate you!
But there are books that I would like to go back to at some point.
Yeah.
They're not going to be books that I reread regularly, but then there's some that I feel like I read when I was too young to get it. So there's a couple of Patrick Gale's books that I'd like to go back to, like Rough Music. I didn't really get, but it was seen as this like LGBT classic that I should read. And I think there's books that I read as a kid that I was forced into reading that actually probably if I went back and read them now I'd enjoy them more. Yeah, so I last year... I know.
Last year I reread Bridget Jones, which I really love to reread. And I've got one of those Picador classic versions of it. It was the 25th anniversary of Bridget Jones's diary. And it's got a foreword by Caitlin Moran. And the first thing she says, because is it's a truth universally known that every few years it is a joy to reread Bridget Jones's diary. And I remember opening it in the bath, and I have reread it a few times, and I really got thinking about every single time I'd reread it and what I'd learned from it. And as I'd started reading it when I was like, we'll say like 17, I read it the first time, then 21, then 25, and now I'm 31. It's every time I read it I get a little bit more, like I get a little bit more from it, or a little bit more means more to me, and something that really I found hilarious before it sort of slipped under the radar. So that's a book that I will reread forever.
I've just realised a series that I will reread, and I do reread Sherlock Holmes.
Oh yeah,
I will happily reread Sherlock Holmes.
And do you feel like you get more from that every time you read it?
No, I think that is more a nostalgic kick, but also because they're short stories, I think they're perfect for if you're feeling ill and you want something that makes you feel better, or if you're having a reading funk and you can't decide what to read. I could probably reread The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Like a palate cleanser.
Yeah, so I just lied this whole video.
Yeah, well no, because that's what these discussions are about.
You're a liar.
Hey, you are a liar. No, because that's what these discussions are about. They're about like discovering more about it. Like talking about it and unravelling things. Yeah.
But it has made me think, like, but I definitely am. I'm so aware of how many books there are, and also like I feel a bit like I don't read enough of the old stuff anyway, because I'm very, very contemporary fiction driven, which I don't think is a bad thing. No. I used to be really into modern classics, but that's just my taste has changed, and now I love me some contemporary lit.
So that's another thing about rereads, is that my tastes have changed like mentally since I started BookTube, unbelievably. So books that I read before, because I've only been doing BookTube, I think it'll be 4 years in May. Is it 4 years in May or 3 years in May? Whatever, a number of years. The books that I would have read before that, I would have been less, like they're not books I would reread now.
Yeah.
And whereas I would reread books that I've read in this small period of time.
Which I think I'm the other way. I think I want to read stuff that I read before.
Yeah.
I don't want to reread stuff. I wonder what that says about contemporary fiction.
Do you know what I should do? We were talking this morning over tea, saying about sort of keeping an eye on what genre of books we read, where we get our books from, and one thing I probably should make a note of is how many rereads I do in a year.
Yeah.
Which you can now log on Goodreads, which is helpful. But I don't think there's like a visual where you can see you've read this many books and this many of them were a reread. Like when you get your stats at the end of the year, but maybe I should do that.
Do you keep a list of books like a diary anywhere?
Well, I've got my bullet journal this year, so that is new. Yeah. Like normally I've always just used Goodreads.
You've not shown me your bullet journal yet on this holiday.
I'll show you. Holiday.
On this holiday? Oh.
I will show you. I will bloody show you.
I want to see your bullet journal, Lauren.
So yeah.
You're not leaving until I have.
But I feel like that was a really good discussion. These are good, aren't they?
They are good, and I'm slightly jealous that you found them first.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go and buy them and make 7 videos by the time this one is live.
So yeah, so that's it from me and Simon. I'll link Simon's channel down below. As Simon said in his book yesterday, I feel like if you're subscribed to me, you're probably in his book.
In his book
that he wrote his bloody bleating on him in his book. I think if you're probably subscribed to me, you're probably subscribed to Simon, but if you're not, then you should, because I mean, his channel's okay. If you like mine, his is like more of a watered down version of mine.
I've taken everything I've known off, Lauren.
Yeah.
Cheers.
So yeah, so now we're off to film a video for your channel. And then I've got to drive home. 5 hours.
Off your pop.
Off your pop. Thanks guys, bye!
Bye!